Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be going over how to do a dihybrid cross punnett square. Now I'm just waiting for this to load. I think it's ready. Okay. So when we talk about dihybrid crosses, remember it is with two traits. Two traits that we are dealing with. And yesterday we had practice with foil, which is, oh, that's really bright. First, outer, inner, and last. That's how we figure out what the gamete combinations are um, to figure out what we're going to put into the punnett square. So if we have these two genotypes right here, so big R, big G, little g, crossed with big R, big G, little g, um, how will we know what to put into the punnett square? That's where we will take this and do foil with it. Same thing here, and do foil with it. So if we foil this and do the first, so it's big R, big G, outer, big R, little g, inner, little r, big G, and then last, little r, little g. Okay, so that's foiling that one. Now if we take this one, first, big R, big G, outer, big R, little g, inner, and then the last, big R, little g. Those are the possible gamete combinations then for each of these two parents. And we would take this and put it like across the top on the punnett square, and then we could take this and put this on the side of the punnett square and then combine them all together. So that's basically what this just all goes through. That for this parent right here, those were the genotypes. Same thing right here. That's what we got. So we're good. And when I said we would plug that into the top of like a punnett square right there, yep. You would write it up there like that. And then for parent two, it would be the same thing. And those are the genotypes that we got. And you would plug that into the punnett square for that. Now, when we work with this and plug it into that punnett square and combine all of those letters together, as you can see, it's gonna get pretty crammed full of letters. Big R, little g, little r, big G. So then when you are combining these all together, so right here, you keep the R's together and you keep the G's together. So this first one be big R, big G, big G. Same thing right here. You keep the R's together, big R, big G, little g. Same thing right here. Big R, big G, big G. Big R, big G, little g. So like we started doing the R, writing the R's first. So you just kind of keep that consistent with doing the R's before the G's. I know it's not alphabetical. It's okay. And then you just would keep going. So big R, big G, little g. And then you would keep going to and fill them all in. Oops. Does this... Okay, the cross is basically just the same as the monohybrid. And then this goes through what they should all be in all of them. I mean, I could keep going, but it's right here in the screen for you. So you combine that and combine those letters and fill in that punnett square. Now, what does this tell us? Okay, so remember dihybrid is two traits. So if the R is going to stand for like if it's round or wrinkled, and then the G is going to stand for the color if it's green or yellow. Remember, round is dominant to wrinkled, green is dominant to yellow. And you look at the individual squares to determine the traits, the possible traits of the offspring. Okay, So the possible choices: round and green, round and yellow, wrinkled and green, and wrinkled and yellow. So then when we take a look at this, we got to figure out which is which. Okay, how do you know which is which? When I take a look at this genotype right here, I'm like, okay, well, that's a round because it has the capital R, round, and then a capital G. It's green, round and green, round and green. This one would be round and green, round and green. Oh, right here would be round, but two little G's. That would be yellow. And so, really, what I would do is like keep a tally of how many there are of each. And if we actually go through it, there would be 13 of the 16 would end up being round and green. And then 3 of the 16 would end up being round and yellow. So were there any where they were wrinkled and green, wrinkled or yellow? Any chances of that? No. These are with those two genotypes of those two parents, these are the only possibilities for them in this particular cross. And so then we would call that a 13 to 3 ratio. 13 round and green to 3 round and yellow. Okay, so now if we actually did a problem here, it says tall pea plants are dominant to short ones. Purple flowers are dominant to white. And then it says try a cross where each parent is heterozygous for both traits. So heterozygous for being tall, I'm going to use T's for this. So if I'm a parent and I'm heterozygous for being tall, big T, little t, and then it says they're heterozygous for flower color. So I'm going to use P's for that. I'm going to, and heterozygous for that, big P, little p. So that's parent one is crossed with this, it's the same thing. Big T, big P, little p. How do I know that? Because it says in the problem that both parents are heterozygous for each trait. Remember, heterozygous is a different size letter for each trait. What do I do now? Before I put anything into a Punnett square, I gotta foil each of these genotypes. So I gotta foil first, outer, inner, last, this one and this one. So if I do this first, TP, outer, big T, little p, inner, little t, big P, and then last, little t, little p. Okay? And then this is the same darn genotype, so it's just going to be the same thing. You could do first, outer, inner, last with that just to make sure that I do this right. But it's going to be the same genotypes for that. Parent genotypes, and then we foil that, and that's what you get. So then you're going to take these and plug that into that big 16 square Punnett square. I don't know if I did that big enough, but I'm going to add another row down here just to give myself some more room. And then you fill in those genotypes up here. Little t, little p. And then you start plugging away and fill it in. So hopefully you try doing this like on a separate sheet of paper to see what you come up with. But when you do it, you're just combining whatever's on the left and the right. So keep the T's together. Big T, big T, big P, big P, big T, big T, big P, little p. Big T, little t, big P, big P. Big T, little t, big P, little p. And so on. And you would keep filling it in. Hopefully, you can pause it right now and you can fill the rest of it in. And then when you come back, how did you do? It should look like this. What you have on the computer screen right here are all of the possible combinations for tall and flower, or for height and flower color of pea plants that you could get. So now again, what does this tell us? So right now the question, it says how many tall and purple? Count them up. So when I look at this, okay, I got a tall and purple, tall and purple, tall and purple, tall and purple, tall purple, Right here's tall purple, tall purple, tall purple, tall purple. And if I counted all of them up, there were 9 of them. Okay. Now, how many tall and white? So this would be tall white, tall white. This is tall white right here. So what is it? There's 3 of them. And then how many short and purple? So this would be a short purple. This would be a short purple. That would be a short purple. So there's 3 of them. And then the last one, how many short and white? You can see that there would be 1. Okay, so what does that tell us then? The overall ratio, if those two, if you had 2 heterozygous parents for um, height and flower color, it would be a 9 to 3 to 3 to 1 ratio, meaning 9 tall to purple to 3 tall and white to 3 short and white, or short and purple to 1 short and white. So I know that was like a lot to go through, and really the only way that you're going to get better at this is to practice. So the formative, it's actually just a worksheet for you guys to work on Classroom next. And for that, um, I would suggest doing it on a separate sheet of paper and then maybe taking a picture of it and turning it in. Or if you do want to figure out a way, you could make a copy and then type it all in on that sheet. That is fine too. If you got questions, again, please ask me and I will be happy to help. I know these are hard and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So do your best with it and good luck. Bye.